A horned figure, wings spread wide, a torch blazing between twisted horns, breasts, a pentagram carved into the forehead. This image has haunted Western civilization for centuries, branded as the ultimate symbol of evil, devil worship, and everything your pastor warned you about. But here's the thing nobody tells you. This creature that terrifies millions, it didn't exist until someone drew it. And the men accused of worshipping it, they were possibly the most powerful military banking operation in medieval history, destroyed in a single day by a king who owed them money. So let me ask you something. What if everything you think you know about Baphomet is a lie? What if this wasn't about demons at all, but about knowledge so dangerous that kings, popes, and empires conspired to bury it forever? Because the real story of Baphomet isn't about Satan. It's about power, hidden power, the kind that gets you burned alive. Ready to find out what they didn't want you to know? The day the world's most powerful order fell, October 13, 1307, Friday, France. Dawn breaks, and across the entire kingdom, soldiers move simultaneously. Templars, the warrior monks, the bankers of Europe, the untouchables are dragged from their fortresses in chains. Hundreds arrested in a single morning. No warning, no trial, just accusations. And one name kept appearing in the charges: Baphomet. Here's the setup. The Knights Templar weren't just some religious military order. They were the first international banking system. They invented checks. They financed crusades. Kings borrowed from them. They answered only to the Pope. They were, in every sense, untouchable. Except King Philip IV of France. Philip the Fair was broke. Completely, catastrophically broke. And he owed the Templars a fortune. Paying them back? Not an option. So Philip did what desperate rulers do. He destroyed them. The charges were insane. Heresy, spitting on the cross, homosexual acts during secret ceremonies, worshipping a demonic idol called Baphomet, and under torture, medieval torture, the kind that makes waterboarding look like a spa day. The Templars confessed to everything. They described Baphomet in contradictory ways. Some said it was a severed head, others, a bearded face. A few claimed 3 heads. Some said wood, others metal. One even described it as a skull that made trees bloom and land fertile. Here's the problem. Nobody ever found it. Not one statue, not one drawing, not a single piece of physical evidence. Nothing. And when the torture stopped, many Templars recanted their confessions. But by then, the damage was done. The Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake in 1314. The order was dissolved. Their gold vanished, their secrets scattered to the wind. And Baphomet? Baphomet became a ghost story, a name without a face, until someone gave it one. The name that makes no sense. Nobody knows where Baphomet comes from. Seriously, historians have been arguing about it for 700 years, and there's still no consensus. The most popular theory? It's a medieval corruption of Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. The Templars spent decades in the Holy Land, fighting alongside and against Muslims, learning their sciences, their philosophy, their medicine. The church hated that, so accusing the Templars of worshipping Muhammad was basically calling them Muslim sympathizers. Over time, through bad Latin translations and illiterate court scribes, Muhammad became Baphomet. But occultists have another explanation. They say Baphomet comes from the Greek Baphometus, baptism of wisdom. Not a physical idol, but a symbolic initiation into forbidden knowledge. A secret rite the Templars brought back from the East. And here's where it gets weird. Some scholars applied the Atbash cipher, an ancient Hebrew code, to the word Baphomet. You know what it spells? Sophia, Greek for wisdom, the same word Gnostics used to describe divine feminine knowledge. So you've got 2 narratives. Official history says Baphomet was a made-up demon, invented by the church to destroy the Templars. Occultists say Baphomet was always real, just not in the way anyone expected. Not a god, not a demon, a symbol, a key to something hidden. And for 500 years, nobody could prove either side, because nobody knew what Baphomet actually looked like. The magician who drew the devil Paris, A former Catholic seminarian turned occultist named Eliphas LaVey sits down to write a book called Dogme et Rituel de la Haute Magie, Dogma and Ritual High Magic. It's going to change Western occultism forever, and in it, LaVey does something nobody had done before. He draws Baphomet. Not just any drawing, the one you've seen everywhere. The goat-headed figure sitting cross-legged, a torch blazing between the horns, one arm pointing up, one down, breasts, wings, a pentagram on the forehead, the words "solve" on one arm, "coagula" on the other. The alchemical formula for transformation: dissolve and coagulate. LaVey called it Baphomet the Sabbatic goat, and he explained, "This isn't a demon. This is the symbol of absolute equilibrium. Male and female, light and dark, spirit and matter, good and evil, let war, but in perfect balance." For LaVey, Baphomet represented the ultimate goal of the magician, the union of opposites, the great work of alchemy, the transformation of the human into the divine through hidden knowledge. The image was brilliant, it was disturbing, it was unforgettable, and it spread like wildfire through occult circles across Europe and America. Secret societies studied it, Freemasons debated it, magicians meditated on it. Baphomet went from a medieval ghost to the defining icon of Western esotericism, but LaVey's Baphomet was philosophical, symbolic, not something you worshipped. That changed in 1966. The Church of Satan and the birth of an icon. San Francisco. The summer of love is 1 year away, but Anton LaVey is already ahead of the curve. On the night of April 30th, Walpurgisnacht, the witch's Sabbath, he shaves his head, puts on a black robe, and declares the founding of the Church of Satan. LaVey didn't believe in a literal Satan. To him, Satan was a symbol of individualism, earthly pleasure, rebellion against guilt and shame. Satanism, in his hands, was a philosophy of rational self-interest wrapped in theatrical ritual, and he needed a symbol, something powerful, something that would provoke, something unforgettable. He chose Baphomet. But LaVey didn't use LaVey's full figure. He took the goat head, placed it inside an inverted pentagram, surrounded it with a circle, and added Hebrew letters spelling Leviathan. Clean, bold, terrifying. The media lost their minds. Suddenly, LaVey was everywhere. Talk shows, newspapers, magazine covers. He performed satanic weddings, baptisms, and funerals. He hung out with celebrities. He played the villain perfectly, needling conservative Christians, pushing boundaries, making Satanism look like the coolest counterculture rebellion on earth, and Baphomet became the face of it all. Within a decade, you saw Baphomet on heavy metal album covers, punk rock patches, horror movie posters, biker jackets. It became merchandise, identity, rebellion in a single image. And the beautiful irony, the symbol accused of being ultimate evil became a symbol of freedom. The statue that trolled America, Oklahoma. The state government approves a monument of the Ten Commandments to be installed at the state capitol. Separation of church and state? Apparently not a thing in Oklahoma. Enter the Satanic Temple, not devil worshippers. Political activists using Satanism as a tool for religious equality. Their argument was simple. If the government allows Christian symbols on public property, it has to allow satanic symbols too. First Amendment, religious pluralism, basic constitutional stuff. So they commissioned a statue, a big one, over 8 feet tall, bronze. Baphomet sitting on a throne, a boy and girl gazing up at him in wonder. Not worship, curiosity, knowledge, questioning. The reaction was instant. Outrage, death threats, politicians foaming at the mouth, conservative Christians calling it an attack on America's soul. But the Satanic Temple didn't back down. They filed legal challenges. They crowdfunded. They made the statue a touring monument, showing up at state capitals, protests, rallies. Eventually, the Ten Commandments monument was removed. The Satanic Temple won, and Baphomet became something new. A symbol of resistance, not against God, but against theocracy, against religious overreach, against the idea that one belief system gets to dominate public space. Baphomet, once again, wasn't about worship. It was about power. The power to say no, the power to challenge authority, the power to demand equality. Silicon Valley, chaos, magic, and the digital Baphomet. Now, here's where it gets strange. Baphomet didn't stay in occult bookstores and heavy metal concerts. It evolved. It migrated. And today, it's showing up in places you wouldn't expect, like Silicon Valley. There's a growing subculture of tech founders, coders, and AI researchers studying chaos, magic, hermetic philosophy, and, yes, working with symbols like Baphomet. Why? Because they see magic and technology as the same thing, manipulating invisible systems to create real-world results. Coding is spellcasting. Algorithms are sigils. AI is alchemy, turning data lead into insight gold. And Baphomet? Baphomet represents the balance required to wield that power: creation and destruction, progress and ethics, humanity and machine. Sound crazy? Look up techno-paganism, or dig into how many startup CEOs have studied Aleister Crowley, or read about ritual gatherings at developer retreats in the Nevada desert. The line between code and magic, it's thinner than you think, and Baphomet, the symbol of all contradictions, all balances, all forbidden knowledge, is right at the center of it. So what is Baphomet, really? A lie invented to destroy the Templars? An alchemical symbol of spiritual transformation? The icon of modern Satanism? A political tool for religious freedom? A philosophical representation of cosmic balance? An occult inspiration for the tech revolution? Answer: all of it, and none of it. Baphomet is whatever you need it to be. It's the mirror of the power you seek, the knowledge you fear, the rebellion you feel. It has no master, no church, no fixed doctrine, and maybe that's exactly why it will never die. So tell me, do you still think Baphomet is just devil worship? Or is it possible the symbol has always been something far more dangerous and far more true? Drop a comment with your thoughts, and if you want to go deeper into these forbidden secrets, hit that subscribe button, because the truth was never meant for everyone.